Hello, beautiful moms and entrepreneurs. My name is Charisse Walker, and I'm your host of the Unbreakable Mompreneurs podcast. This is a place where we come together to learn, grow, and inspire. So sit back, relax, and let's get started. Hello, Unbreakable Mompreneurs. My name is Charisse Walker, your host, and today I am super excited. Not that I'm not every other time, but Chaya Garcia is in the house, and she is doing exactly what I wrote this book for. It's all about saving marriages and starting with yourself first, because if you can't start with yourself and heal yourself and know who you are, then how in the heck are you going to find a partner? Like, it's just not going to work. And so excited to talk with you. So without further ado, why don't you introduce yourself to our listeners?
Well, thank you so much, Charisse, for having me on. Such a pleasure and such a powerful topic. So, hey guys, I'm Chaya Garcia, relationship expert. For the past 20 years, I've studied only one thing: how do relationships, some of them totally work and the majority of them totally fall apart. And so I've basically just became an expert in allowing women to get to know themselves so well, hear their own voice so clearly, get connected with their trust and love to truly attract that right partner that's sustainable and healthy.
Keywords, sustainable and healthy, because
Yes.
I just feel like in a world right now, there's so much that's changed. Like, I'm grateful that I am the age that I'm at and not where my daughters are right now,
So
because
true.
not only am I scared for them about like everything happening in the world, but it's also getting to know who you are. I feel like we as a society, and I don't want to get political, but have demasculinated men. It's like, women, we can do it all and we don't need you. And I guess you can come along for the ride. And so I watch far too many women that are taking this role. And because of that, it's like, I have to do it all. I have to be everything. And yet they're so busy running, they're not really taking time to figure out what they're running towards. Does that make sense?
Yeah, 100%.
So how did you, like, what's your origin story? How did you get into this topic?
I mean, first of all, don't be afraid for your kids. With you as a mom, I'm sure
No.
they're going to be
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
So my origin story is I was running towards like what everyone else told me that was the idea of success. So at 26 years old, I already had my bachelor's degree with the highest honors, graduated, did 2 years pre-PhD, which essentially means I wasn't in a program, but working in a PhD program to go into a PhD program. Then I was doing 2 years of my master's. And so I switched from PhD to master's. I didn't want to be there forever. And then at 26, I already had my bachelor's degree and my master's degree, highest honors. I owned a house. I had a hot boyfriend. I had a nice new car, and I was sick. So basically, I had the definition of success, but I was so sick and I didn't know that. The boyfriend at the time, so my origin story is I had a really cute boyfriend and he's about to come over and I am like pumped. I'm so in love. I get so ready for the relationship. I make him breakfast. I make him coffee. He's coming over. I get dressed up. And then he like comes in like so not very excited, like slow and sluggish and like totally disinterested. And then he proceeds to tell me that he's breaking up with me to go upstate to do drugs. Cause I was always like, choose drugs or me. And he was like, of course I'm gonna choose you. I love you. I don't need. And then he was like, I'm done with this. I'm going away for the whole weekend and I am gonna be doing drugs. Like, we have to break up. And I was like devastated. I was like, but I just spent all this time and we've been together for so long and we love each other so much. So he leaves and I cry and I'm in like fetal position, like, what just happened? And then in that moment of pain, severe, excruciating, shocking pain, I also had a blessing of divinity, which was like, how did I attract this? How did I get here? How is this scene that just played out where I'm so pumped and loving and giving and nurturing, and he was like totally disconnected, disinterested in doing drugs? Like, how does the successful 26-year-old who has straight A's and a fit body and a house attract the addict? Like, what? Like, how does that happen? So after that, I basically got into the 12-step program and I became the same student in school, straight A's, but in life. And I was like, I need to know everything about relationships, why they don't work out, and how two people are attracted to each other.
I love that because I too was in a fetal position after my now ex-husband drove away with my kids for the first time for the weekend, which was a very rare occurrence, I must say. And I realized that I was no longer a wife and that this is now my life and what the heck. And I tried for 15 years to make that marriage work. And to the point that I had been diagnosed with MS, because you talk about being sick, like the stress and everything. I was working full time, he wasn't working. And it was really hard. And I think that it's easy to get back into that. Like I was in the single scene for a long time. Well, not a long time, but for a time. I loved it. It was like the most fun I'd ever had in my life. And you gotta understand, like I've never drank alcohol, never done drugs, like none of that. So when they say fun, fun was I could go do what I wanted without feeling like I had to ask permission or feeling like I was like had this ball and chain attached to me. It was just hard. And this person, like my ex, he's a great guy, you know, he's a nice guy, not for me, right? And so then you find yourself dating these other people. And the first person I'm attracted to, I was like the 20-year younger version of the ex-husband. And I'm like, wait a second, what is going on? Why am I back to this? I'm raising another child. Like I'm not doing this again. And he was my age. He just was maturity level. And so that's the part is what is it about we as women that we tend to, not all, but a lot of women I watch, they attract this project. Why?
Well, it's really like, let's talk about shapes and puzzles. It's really like we have a wound in a specific shape. And let's say this is all unconscious. So we have a wound in a specific shape and we just go out and like our inner child knows the shape and she's the one making decisions. And then she finds and she looks at all the guys. Let's say they all are the same. Let's say they all look alike for this example. They're all the same hotness and they all look identical. But she's like, which one is the shape that's going to fit my void? And she's like, well, John doesn't do this. Oh, Josh fits my void. And then you guys, and it's literally subconscious attraction, which is why this is why it tripped me out. Because I was like, how? Like, how does this happen? And so for me, it was like so what I always say to my clients, and if you guys want to find me before the end, you go to Epic Love Expert on Instagram, Epic Love Expert. Basically, so I always say, like, we don't attract what we want. We attract who we are. Like, no one wants to get cheated on, abandoned, like left. No one wants the drama and pain. But we don't attract what we want. We attract who we are. So I had issues with my dad wanting approval from me, and I was a liar, not to other people, but to myself. And I had control issues, the same exact thing that he had. He was a liar, not to himself, to other people. He had control issues, not with other people. He didn't want to control me. He wanted to control his drug use. He wanted to control himself, his highs, his lows, and I wanted to control him. We literally had the exact same shape void based on exactly who we were. We matched perfectly. So a woman who has a father who beat the mom and was an alcoholic, she goes out with her little beautiful inner child and says, I need to find a man who's just like my dad. And if I can get him to love me and for us to work, my whole childhood will just be okay. It's just going to be okay. And she goes out with this void that has like a powerful voice and screams her in the direction of these same men that remind her of her void because she has a need to repair. And until you're educated, like with your book, my work, our work, until you're educated, the inner child doesn't know any different. And it's like, no, you can repair it, but it's not from him, it's from you.
Amen on that one.
Yeah.
And that's like the codependency part. I have some daughters that are like there's a huge range from 22 and 25, and then I have a 10 and a 12, right? So I'm like, okay, we got to get this right.
Same man, same husband? No.
Again, first husband, second husband.
Got it.
And it's interesting because I watch one of my daughters, they continue to attract this type. And I'm just like, what is it? Like, why? And she doesn't see it because they might look different. This one might be red hair. This one might be dark hair. This one might be Hispanic. This one might be African American, you know, like whatever. But it's the same type. And that shows you that we're all the same. Like, you know, it doesn't matter your skin color, it doesn't matter anything. It is, there's a type, and I'm like, do you realize this is who you keep attracting? She's like, no, mom. I'm like, no, it is. Stop it. And so, how do you get people to understand and recognize where the deficiencies are or where the voids are so that they can then fix it and change their puzzle piece?
So first they have to want it, right? We have to start with the basics. They have to want it. So they have to come to me and say, hey, I could really use some help and I'm ready to pay for it. A lot of time people want help and they don't want to invest either their money or their time and energy, right? Money is just energy. So first they have to come to that on their own. Like, I actually am done in pain. It's kind of like addiction. You can't really change an addict until they decide they want to stop using drugs, right? So first the codependent or the woman or anyone has to say, hey, Chaya, or hey, like, I really am done with the pain. And like, I've done it my way. It's not working. And I'm ready to use my resources, my time, my money, my energy, and actually put them in me. That's step one. Step two is I say, okay, what has all of the relationships in the past been like? And what's the number one reason you broke up with X, Y, and Z, right? So they're like, Josh, John, whatever. And they're like, well, he broke up because of this and we broke up because, right? And if you go through the list, craziest story, like what you were saying, is you almost always break up for the same reasons. He was doing drugs, or he cheated on me, or he, right? Same reasons, different guy. And then you go, that's you. That's your problem. You're an liar or you're cheating on yourself. What do you mean I'm cheating on myself? Well, every time you feel that you need to protect yourself, you run.
Yeah, it's true.
And so you literally break it down to them to show them who they are, because it's not about the men and what the men did, but he was this, he did that, he stole. No. You attracted him. You matched him. Universally, out of all the men, y'all came together. So you create the list, you show them their pattern, and then that's their pattern. And then you work on learning how to forgive. A big part of not attracting the same is when you realize that they're good people and you're a good person and you are lovable. And when you learn that you are effed up, but also 100% lovable, and you can love yourself and deserve good, healthy love, you'll stop allowing yourself to settle for someone who gives you highs and lows because you now want consistent stability.
And I can see, I think one reason that the same daughter keeps doing that is she's afraid of commitment. She's afraid of being happy. She's afraid of a relationship because it didn't work for her parents. And because of that, like I've watched, she chooses these guys that she knows it's not going to work out because it's safe, right? And I'm like, you're wasting so much time. But it is. So here's my question for you. Say that you're in a relationship, right?
Yeah.
And you like you talked about things are going well or they're not going well. At what point do you decide, you know what, this isn't working for us and I'm just going to walk away? Like, yeah.
Yeah. So one thing is that your daughter's not afraid of commitment. She's afraid to be loved, just to be
Right.
really clear with you. She's not afraid of commitment. She's afraid of vulnerability
Yes.
and love and being loved. And there's a part of her that feels like if somebody really knew me, if somebody really knew all the stuff I've gone through, all the stuff that happened to me, all the weird stuff I've thought about,
Mhm.
they probably wouldn't love me. And so I have to keep them at a safe distance so that I don't ever get hurt because I don't believe I'm truly lovable. So if you go to your daughter and you just remind her how lovable she is, how everyone is screwed up and everyone has traumas, but it doesn't mean that they need someone who's also traumatized. Like so many people think, I'm screwed up. I need someone else who's screwed up. It's like, no. If you're screwed up, that's great. So is everyone else. Work on your stuff so you feel so healthy and whole, and then attract someone who's also had a lot of stuff, but is now healthy and whole. And that's not a defining factor of their identity. And then in your second question, when look, it's different when you have kids, I want to start off with, but I really think that if the relationship is not working, it's not working. And if you're trying to make it work, it's like the biggest sign that it's not working. Relationships that are healthy have flow, have healthy communication, have consistent safety spaces. There's not like constant triggers or fighting or arguing or therapy sessions. Anytime a couple in the beginning of their dating process or it's like, oh, we just need to go to couples therapy. I'm like, you guys are dating, like, or in like, if you need therapy now and you're not like a year into your marriage, like get out, like just get out. I think a lot of times we make relationships work when they're not working because we're afraid of losing the person by default of so much time elapsing that we've lost our identity instead of the I in the us. And we think we're going to lose a part of ourselves if we lose that person. But it's just not true. It's just not true. A lot of times we have to leave relationships even through the pain.
And I think that sometimes, because there's some statistics, 68% of marriages fail is the statistic. I'm sure, I'm curious, it's been a couple months since I looked at that, but there's two reasons, I think. First of all, they never healed from the first one. They made the same mistake or a similar mistake. Second is they learned this isn't working for me, so I know how to get out. I've done it before, I can do it again. And so it's like, it's very interesting to watch that second marriage and kind of what happens because of it. But the same, totally agree with you. Just because you've invested time does not mean you need to give it more time. I look at it as you're wasting time. When you know that it's not right, you need to move on. And
Yeah.
it's a huge disservice to both of you.
And get yourself with enough support, like find an Naranon or an Al-Anon free support group and get, whatever religion you are, whatever God you believe in, get close to God, who's a loving, good God. Develop enough faith, go to your faithful places of connection, go to support systems. You can't do it alone. You cannot leave unhealthy relationships alone. They're just too addictive and they're too frightening to leave. So if you're going to leave it, just remember you can't do it alone. You're not meant to do it alone. Develop enough faith that you're deserving of a better life. And then surround yourself with people who will keep celebrating you and giving you hope when it's a hard struggle to leave, and stay away.
And one other thing I want to mention, because you said to go back that I didn't touch on earlier, is that you have to realize you want to change and you have to be willing to pay for it. Okay, people listening, if you want
Yes.
and you're planning to get married, how much money are you willing to spend on that marriage? Wedding. How much money are you willing to spend on the wedding? If you're not even willing to spend $100 or $150 per hour or whatever, 200, I don't care, to try to get some help for you, why on heaven's earth are you willing to spend that kind of money for your wedding? And I think that that's the part that, if you can put it in perspective, because I'm dealing I'm a real estate agent, and I'm dealing with the messiest divorce clients I have ever experienced in my life right now, to the point they hate each other, they won't talk to each other, and this has been the longest 3 months of my life because of what has happened. And they were married for quite a time. And now it's gotten to the point where they can't even talk to each other. Like how, and there's so much money involved. And I think that that's the part, is that you have to be willing to invest in yourself, because everything else will be even more expensive if you don't.
Yeah.
Traumatizing.
Go. Keep going. Keep going.
No, go ahead.
You were saying and traumatizing. Yeah. Like I say that because, there's some people who call me, right? And they want, and they want help without paying or whatever, everyone has their own, but it's like, if for all your listeners, dear listeners, I love you. If you really want to make sure you have the best life, you do it preventatively. You don't wait. If you don't want to get a disease when you're older, you learn how to be healthy now. If you don't want to win your legs and you're a runner, you study now how to preventatively run to protect your joints. The same thing is with love. Like you need to invest in yourself to learn what really are your traumas, your triggers. Divorce is way more than my coaching course, right? Like divorce, moving, custody battles. And that's just talking about thousands of dollars that are very common in relationships, let alone the pain that you cannot put numbers on, like what you were saying, the trauma. A custody battle of kids, like what you said, fetal position when they run away. Like my parents are divorced. Like you're going to have your editor block me out a lot. But like, dang, like if I could put money on how traumatizing a part of when my parents' divorce was, like there's no limit. It was so bad. And so like my mom never healed before she got married. So she passed it to me. Thank God I healed, and hopefully I will break the cycle. Now I'm in an extraordinarily healthy, stable, sober marriage. And my kids are very much seeing that. But it's like, if you guys don't realize that investing in self-love, it sounds fluffy. It sounds like a special therapist. It's not. It's literally your mental health, your financial health down your road, the health of your children. It's really such a large part of life that impacts every area of life.
It
So you
does.
deserve it.
And your kids. Like that's the
Yeah.
hardest part for me is my four children that had to witness that and go through it. And if you make a mistake in choosing another person when you weren't ready or healed, and then you have those kids as well. It's this trickle down that it was really hard, and it's devastating for so many, right? So let's not be depressed anymore about those topics. I want to talk about, you said you're happily married now and you're strong success. So it's possible. It's possible to have a healthy marriage and a happy marriage.
Yeah, I mean, it's not common. So most people think that they have to fight for love. We're fighting for love. I'm like, dude, if you're fighting, get out. You don't fight for love. Love is a natural extension and progression of safety. And if you don't feel so safe that this person is going to show up for you consistently and predictably and soberly and in sobriety, like get out, stop fighting for love. It's the worst sign. And I can't stand when I watch reality shows and they're not that I watch TV, I stopped it, but like, we fight for love. Will you fight for me? I'm like, oh, it's so bad. Like, anywho, people use that as a term of like devotion. They use it as a term of, I'm not going to let anything stop love. Like, I'm going to be devoted and I'm going to work hard. And it's the same thing we learn in school. I told you I was a sick, successful person. I was like, just get the straight A, right? Just get the A, just get the degree, right? And you can block every single thing out just to get your straight A and someone else being so proud of you because you got your A. And women take that same push into relationships. And I am going to answer your question in a second. And they're just like, if I could just make this work. And they really put their identity in the devotion versus like, let it go, dude. Get some therapy, love up on yourself, take a trip to Europe, and attract another guy in a year from now when you've learned that you deserve a lot more serenity. And so that was my process. And I basically I was so sick. I was so delusional. I mean, I just think that no one talks about this, which is why I love telling my story, because you can be what everyone else defines as successful, but still totally sick. And no one knows it because it's just in your mind and the way you perceive yourself. And like I perceived myself I was so delusional. I thought I can change someone else's behavior. I thought I can love my ex enough, I can love up on him enough, he would stop wanting to do drugs. I was quacky, like delusional, crazy, ignorant AF, even though I literally just cut out of 8 years of psychological study. I had 2 degrees at that point in really great schools. And no one teaches you about delusion, control, self love, addiction, codependency. I mean, you learn about it in abnormal psych, some of the crazy stuff like borderline, but none of the real stuff that happens like day to day with everyone. So, my stable, happy marriage is because I learned how to stop lying. And I still have to work on it. I still lie to myself. I can't do this. I'm not in the mood, right? It's a lie. I could probably do it. I could probably get out of my mood. But my lies now are less dangerous than they were before, where I really thought I had a lot of power over people. And if I can just love harder or inspire harder, then I can make it work. And once I stopped lying and stopped wanting people to love me, which was huge, I started loving myself and making decisions that made me proud. Like, am I proud if I do this? Am I not proud if I do that? Am I proud if I do? And I really re-entered back to myself. It's like there's a word in Hebrew called teshuvah where you return. And it's like I really just returned back to myself of like, who am I? How am I hurting myself? Because so much of my hurt, I thought I was doing the right thing. I was healing myself by drinking the beer, by drinking an extra cup of coffee, by going to the guy, but like I wasn't helping. I was hurting. I was so distorted. So once I broke the distortion and came close to myself and stopped wanting other people to love me, but me to love me, I eventually attracted a really sober and amazing man. And now we're in our 8th year with our children. And it's like a different world. And I can't stress enough to people listening how you really can have epic love. That's why my handle is Epic Love Expert. You can have epic love. It so exists, but it starts when it comes first from you.
And it's so true. And when you can stop, as you said, trying to live for somebody else's approval or somebody else's, like I learned, I think it was probably 6 years ago. I don't know. I woke up from a fog and a daze realizing I'm never going to be able to control what you think of me. Never. There's nothing I can do to change your opinions. There's nothing I can do. There's not. It's going to take time, or it's going to take different things. And so until that happens, like, I can't control it. And so why am I putting so much energy instead of myself? Like, if I can wake up every morning, look at myself in the mirror and saying I'm doing everything I can to be honest, like whatever my values are, my core values. And listeners, same thing. This is what I've started saying to my kids: are what are your core values? What is important to you, and what are your deal breakers? Like somebody who was very, very vocal on his beliefs, who passed away recently, that
Charlie.
yeah. So Charlie Kirk, this probably won't air for a couple months, but he had no qualms about that. And the thing that hit me was listening to his wife. She said every single day he got up and said, how can I be a better man? How can I be a better husband? How can I be a better father? And if we were to actually ask ourselves that every day, what can I do to be a better person? Then that's where it comes. That's where it starts. It doesn't matter if they say you're this, you're this, you're this. You know what? Take some inventory. If that's true, then and you feel like it's not good stuff, then make those changes. But if it is true and it's good stuff, continue and grow upon that and make a difference for the better. And so I think that that's the part that we just have to start in getting back to, not being narcissistic and not being so into ourselves. That's not what I'm saying. Because when you get depressed, go out and help other people. That's not the chemical parts, I know, but if you can go make a difference for other people, it does change you personally. And I think if we as a society, if we as individuals say, okay, what do I need? And be honest with ourselves, it really will change. Any thoughts on that?
It's a hard pill to swallow, the Charlie Kirk passing, and he really fought for women. He was one of the rare voices in the world that, yes, also believed in a lot of morality and God and family, but he stood up for women. And as what I do is I feel like I'm a women's advocate, even though I'm a dating and relationship coach. I feel like my core is a woman's advocate. Like, no, 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 like you actually deserve so much more. Like now that I'm in my healthy marriage where my husband gives to me and loves me and writes me love notes. And when I travel, he'll order me food exactly the kind I like without even me asking to the hotel or the conference that I'm at so that I don't go hungry because I'm so busy with work. He's so present with my children. Like I never worry about he doesn't watch pornography, he doesn't do drugs, he doesn't smoke cigarettes. I'm not worried about him ever. And my ex, before I was, the exes, let's just say, all of them before I got healthy, I was always worried. Are they going to smoke up? Are they going to do drugs? Is he going to watch porn? Is he going to do this? Is he going to do that? And I was always like nervous about their character and their behavior, which I had no control over. And the weird thing is like, they're so affectionate and loving and spiritual and kind and intelligent that it's so easy to just say, well, they're such great, sweet, kind, affectionate, loving people that my nervousness about X, Y, and Z, it's like, it's so small, but it's not. It literally destroys your whole life. And as somebody who used to be delusional addicted and know a lot of people who are or went through it, let the little part that's driving you crazy be your truth. And Charlie spoke up for the truth, and Charlie spoke up for women, and he said women deserve to be provided for, and women deserve to be loved up on, and women deserve that if they don't want to work, they should not have to work. And the man should be the provider, and the man should take care of her and give to her and allow her to feel safe so she can be with her children. He was such a beautiful light on just shining of what a true marriage is, where the woman can relax. And like we started the podcast with like women are so in their masculine, it's because women haven't been told like you deserve so much more. And it's not even your job to get all your stuff. It's not your responsibility to pay for everything. It's like you can, but allow a man to pay for you. Allow yourself to be nurtured.
I think for women that are listening to this, are like, I don't agree, and he bad.
Yeah.
You're missing the point. It's not that you can't do it. It's that
Yeah.
you shouldn't have to feel like you always have to be the one that takes care of everything. Like in the animal kingdom, the mom, for the most part, takes care of their babies. She takes care, like we have little ducks, and this year, our first year having them, and she sat on that nest for like days and weeks at a time while the guy walked around. And if you want to debate that, you can send hate notes. That's fine to me, and we'll have that conversation.
No
What
one's hating on you. Everyone feels your love.
Well, but you know what I'm saying? Like, there's going to be those people that oppose it because it is. It just is. But I want to switch gears for a second because our time's up. And I want to ask you, because now that you're a mom and you're a working mom, and your children are still young, but I want you to think back and imagine a 9-month pregnant woman sits next to you on the park bench. Your kids are playing on the playground. What is one piece of advice you give her, if anything? It doesn't have to be just as a new mom.
Don't neglect yourself. I really I was like so unhappy for so long, and also just don't expect it to be different. Allow the mess to be messy. I don't know if she's in the right relationship. I'd probably ask her about that. If I was really on a park bench with her, I'd be like, "Who's the man?" I'd be like, "Where is he? Where is he? And is he good?" Because
Nobody's ever asked that.
yeah, that's what I would say. I'd be like, what's the father like? How safe do you feel? Are you happy to bring this baby into a home with him? Are you doing this alone? Can I help you? She was a single mom pregnant. I'd probably invite her into my house. Or at least I'd be really good friends with her to be there for her after the pregnancy or when she's losing her mind postpartum. So if she was single, I'd probably befriend her and invite her to my home, or at least get her number to be of support to her. If she's married, I mean, if she's in a relationship, I would ask her if it's safe or not. Because like, why is she at the park bench alone pregnant? Oh, it doesn't sound so great. And if it's healthy, great. And if then I would also be, and if it's not healthy, I would probably send her some resources. Of like, here's some, books from Amazon, or I have some free things to give you, just so she can develop enough strength and courage to leave. That's probably what I would do if I was with someone. And I would just tell her, like, it's going to be hard and that's normal. And just know that most people suffer from suicidal ideation postpartum, and it's not you, it's your hormones. And you can get hormone help, and just like prep her for the things people don't talk about. But most of all, I just probably get her number and be of support.
I've asked this almost 250 times to women, and never once have they ever talked about, so you can tell you're good at what you do because you talk about who's the father and what's the father like. That's something that I want to take it one step further. And this is what helped me finally leave my first husband. When I actually finally came honest with myself and I said, would I be okay with my 19-year-old daughter marrying my husband? And would I be okay with my 19-year-old son? Is he prepared to marry a woman? And is he going to be a good provider and a good husband? And when I realized the answer to that question, that's when I realized, why am I still in this relationship? Because I'm not modeling being an example to my children at that point. And I think that we as women, you go through it, you do whatever you need to. It's sometimes it's just to survive, but if you can get honest with yourself, I think there's a movie called It Ends With Us. Don't ask me who's in it because I'm not that type that can remember that. But I was bawling because I'm like, oh my gosh, as a mother, our job is to make sure that our children are safe. And if they're not, then that's where you need to reach out for some help. So on that heavy note,
No, it's not a heavy note. I'll switch notes and then we can end.
yeah.
When I was 14, for your readers, for your listeners, I was so suicidal. I would literally go to bed at 14. If you guys have like little kids, think about a 14-year-old. Because now that I'm an adult with kids, I'm like, that's kind of young. I would literally write suicide notes in my head every single night before I would go to bed. I had such bad anxiety. My journals, because I've always journaled, were filled with like, I want to die. My parents had split. My mom was doing crazy stuff. So much insanity, right? When you've grown up with two parents your whole life and then two not parents, and then crazy parents because they're also going through their own traumas and not available. And I promised that I would never kill myself, and I would never like cut myself or hurt myself, because I'm going to change and transform all my pain to never recreate what I went through for my baby girl. And so I decided to live and change and transform for my baby girl at 14. And then I like healed and dated. And I was like, wait, this isn't like what I worked so hard for. Like, this isn't what I like saved my, like, this isn't what I went through all the pain for. Like, this isn't it. And so I would leave the men for something greater than me, my baby girl. I was like, I don't want to bring her into this. And then when I finally had enough strength to leave and continue to heal, I did attract my amazing husband, and I got pregnant, and we never checked the gender. And we always knew it was a baby girl, and we named her and we checked it like her heartbeat. And of course, when she came out, she was a baby girl that I had lived for so long in my stable, healthy marriage. So for anyone who's listening, everyone is 100% effed up and 100% lovable. There's absolutely nothing that you've done or that has happened to you to ever reduce the power and magnitude of how lovable you are and how much love and good love you deserve. So use this podcast and this moment to just say, okay, I'm done with anything miserable in my life, whether it's my job or a relationship or the boss or the friend or the relative. Like you no longer are a vessel for misery, and you really can transform your life and live an epic love life. And it just starts with you choosing you now.
Amen. Thank you for finishing that up.
My pleasure.
How would our listeners, if they're like, oh my gosh, I need to talk to somebody, I need help, this is me, I need it, how would they find you?
So you can find me at my Instagram handle or my socials at Epic Love Expert. And if you are ready to actually invest in yourself, like you want to put your energy, your heart, your money, your time, your love back into you, then book a call. The first call is totally free. It's just to connect and do a free consultation. And you can go to connect with Chaya, CHAYA.com. So it's connectwithchaya.com, and it's a booking link. So you literally don't have to wait or think about what kind of message to write me or say anything. You can literally just book a call, connect with Chaya, CHAYA.com, and actually get a real person to help you right now as soon as you hear this.
I love that. And honestly, I wrote the book Flipping the Iceberg for that reason, is because we are all icebergs. We're 10% above the water, 90% below. And on the surface, we all look like everything's going fine. But I want you to know there's a lot of people around you that they're not going to ever show you what's underneath. But what you need to figure out is what's underneath you, and flip the iceberg so that you can heal yourself and figure it out. So go out and make it a great day. And thank you for listening. Beautiful moms, remember, you are unbreakable. Keep illuminating the world with your strength, pursuing your dreams, and reveling in the splendor of motherhood. This is Charisse Walker, bidding you farewell for now. Stay tuned for more empowering conversations on the next episode of the Unbreakable Mompreneurs podcast. Until then, keep shining bright. Signing off with love, Charisse Walker.